Elias did not sleep well that night. Every few minutes he woke up, expecting the alien girl to be gone. But she remained quietly on the blanket, breathing softly, the glow of her freckles faint in the dark. He could not explain the feeling building inside him. It was not fear, nor was it irritation. It was something strange, something like responsibility. She had chosen him, and somehow he felt the weight of that choice. Morning came, pale sunlight spilling across the messy floor of his home. The alien girl sat cross-legged on the blanket, staring at the wall. Elias got up, rubbed his eyes, and reached for the coffee machine. She tilted her head. "Do you always wake this early?" she asked. "Yes. Humans like routine," he said, half grumbling. He poured a cup of bitter coffee. "Do you like routine?" she asked again. He took a sip. "Sometimes. Keeps things normal." She nodded slowly. "Normal is safe," Elias frowned. "Are you always this serious?" "Only when I need to be," she said. Her voice was quiet, almost thoughtful. He looked at her for a long moment. Something about her presence was unlike anything he had ever experienced. He had spent years alone with machines and engines, never needing anyone else. And now here she was, an alien child asking impossible questions and somehow making him feel human. Before he could say anything else, a loud alert sounded from his wrist communicator. The colony's security network had detected a massive ship entering orbit. It moved with precision, silent but menacing. The display showed alien symbols flashing across the screen. "What is that?" the girl asked, suddenly alert. Elias stared at it. "I don't know. But it's not friendly." She stepped closer, her small hand brushing his arm. "They are here for me," she said calmly. "What? Who?" he asked, panic rising. Her silver eyes glowed softly. "My mother's people. They came to get me," he blinked. "Your mother's people?" She nodded. "I was not supposed to survive. They thought I would die, but I didn't. Now they are searching for me." Elias felt his stomach twist. "Why are they looking for you?" She looked away as if searching for words. "They need me. I do not know why. But if they find me, it will not be good for you," he frowned. "Why me? You smell like him." "My father," she said softly. He froze. "Father, me?" "Yes, you are my daddy. You do not know it yet, but it is true." Elias shook his head. "This is impossible. I've never—" He stopped, realizing no words could explain what was happening. Every part of him screamed that it was impossible, yet everything inside him, the shield she had made, the connection he felt, told him she was telling the truth. The alert sounded again. The alien ship had begun descending closer to the colony, scanning for targets. Civilian alarms began to ring across Eudora 7. People ran from streets to shelters, unsure of what to expect. Elias grabbed the girl's hand. "We need to move now." She nodded, not afraid. "I trust you." They ran to his hangar. Engines lined the walls, hover bikes resting on charging pads. He quickly pulled a small shuttle from storage, old, barely functional, but enough to take them off the ground. He opened the cockpit and the girl climbed beside him, her hands glowing faintly as she touched the controls. "You can help?" he asked, surprised. "I can guide," she said. "I know how to fly through danger." He hesitated, but the situation left him no choice. He started the engines, the shuttle shaking with power as it lifted off. Outside, the alien ship hovered, massive and dark, its sensors scanning the colony below. "Evasive maneuvers," she said, pointing to the left. Her glowing freckles intensified. A soft light surrounded the shuttle, forming a protective bubble that shimmered in the morning sunlight. Elias stared in disbelief. "You did that?" "Again," she nodded. "I protect my daddy." They dodged through the sky, weaving past low-hanging clouds. The alien ship fired energy pulses, and each time, the girl's shield absorbed the blasts. Elias gritted his teeth, managing the shuttle while she guided them with uncanny precision. After what felt like hours, but was only minutes, they reached a remote canyon. He landed the shuttle behind a cluster of jagged rocks. They were hidden for now. "Why me?" he asked again, finally voicing the question that burned in his chest. She looked at him. "Your DNA was used long ago. My mother, she believed humans were strong enough to help us survive. She needed a father who could give me life, who could protect me. That father is you." Elias felt his knees weaken. "You're saying—" "I'm your dad? But I don't remember." "Memories were erased," she explained. "You did not know, but the bond exists." "I have known. He slumped against the shuttle, overwhelmed. All this time. And I never knew. Now you do, she said softly. She climbed onto his lap, small and fragile, yet somehow radiating a strength he could not ignore. Suddenly, the ground shook. The alien ship had landed nearby. Humanoid figures emerged, tall, silver-skinned, with glowing markings across their bodies. Their eyes were unreadable, but they focused entirely on the girl. Return the child, one of them commanded in perfect English, or the humans will suffer. Elias stood protectively in front of her. She is not leaving. Not without me. The alien leader tilted its head. You are not her father. Step aside. I am, Elias said firmly, and no one touches her. The aliens exchanged glances, their expressions unreadable. Then one stepped forward. Very well. We will not fight today, but you cannot hide her forever. Elias swallowed. We'll see about that. The girl placed her small hand on his chest. I trust you. We can do this together. Over the next few days, Elias and the girl stayed hidden in the canyon. She taught him about her abilities, the shield, her energy control, and her unusual senses. He learned to read the signs she could see, to understand her subtle gestures, and even to anticipate danger with her guidance. Each night, they would sit by the small stream running through the canyon. The girl would ask questions about Earth, humans, and emotions. Elias answered carefully, realizing how little he had experienced life outside machines and work. You love me, right? She asked one night, her silver eyes reflecting starlight. He hesitated. I think I'm starting to. It's strange, but I do feel something I've never felt before. She smiled softly. I love you too. I have always loved you. The bond between them grew stronger, not just as father and daughter, but as companions facing impossible odds. Weeks passed. The alien ship left orbit temporarily, but the threat remained. Elias knew they could not stay hidden forever. They needed a plan, a way to prove that she could live safely among humans without provoking the alien species. He began working on modifications for his shuttle, enhancing shields and creating cloaking fields. The girl assisted, using her energy to power devices that human technology could not manage alone. Together, they created a small but formidable defense system. Finally, the day came. The alien ship returned, scanning the colony with renewed intensity. Elias guided the shuttle out of hiding, and the girl's energy shield flared brilliantly, absorbing pulses fired from the massive craft. Elias maneuvered the shuttle, weaving through laser fire, while the girl controlled the shield with precision. Each blast they dodged seemed impossible, but together they moved as one. At a critical moment, Elias stopped near the colony's central platform. He landed the shuttle and stepped out holding the girl's hand. I will not give her to you, he declared, voice strong. She asked me if I am her father. I am. And I am not leaving her alone. The alien leader paused, evaluating him. Then surprisingly it nodded. Your courage is remarkable. Humans are not as weak as we believed. She may remain. For now. Elias exhaled, relief flooding through him. The girl hugged him tightly. We did it, she whispered. Yes, he said, holding her close. We did it together. From that day forward, Elias and the alien girl became a symbol of trust and courage. She no longer asked every human she met if they were her father. She had found the one who truly was, and though the galaxy remained full of unknown dangers, Elias knew that as long as they were together, they could face anything. They watched the sunset from the hangar roof, her small hand in his, and for the first time, Elias felt the completeness of family. Not by chance, not by accident, but by a bond that transcended worlds, species, and even memory. She had asked him the question that stopped everyone, and now he had the answer he had never imagined. Yes, and he would never let go. Ethan was not a hero. At least that was what he always told himself. He was just an engineer who worked long shifts fixing broken generators and replacing cracked power lines on a small human settlement located on the edge of known space. The planet was called Halem 4, a quiet, dust-colored world where the sky was always slightly red, like it could not decide if it wanted to be morning or evening. Life there was simple, calm, and sometimes a little lonely. That night was colder than usual. Ethan walked down the dimly lit road from the power station back toward his small living quarters. He pulled his coat tighter, rubbing his hands together to warm them. He could see clouds of his breath as he walked. The settlement was quiet at this hour. Only a few drones floated by on patrol. Most people were already asleep. He was halfway home when he heard a sound. It was faint, almost like a small cry. Ethan stopped walking. At first he thought he imagined it, but then he heard it again, soft, shaky, like someone trying not to be heard but failing. He turned toward the sound. It was coming from behind a stack of metal supply crates near the side of a storage building. The area was dark, only one flickering streetlight nearby casting weak light. Ethan hesitated. It was probably an animal. There were strange lizard-like creatures on Halem 4 that sometimes snuck into human areas looking for food. But then he heard it again. This time it was clearer. Not an animal. It was a voice. A scared one. Without thinking anymore, Ethan slowly approached the crates. He raised his hands a little to show he meant no harm. His boots crunched softly on gravel. He crouched down and leaned to look behind the crates. There, curled up on the ground, hugging her knees close to her chest, was a girl. But not a human girl. Her skin was pale, almost silver in the weak light. Her hair looked white at first, but when the flickering streetlight hit it, it shimmered with faint blue and lilac shades. Her cheeks had glowing lines like natural tattoos pulsing softly as she breathed. Her eyes, wide with fear, were golden but not solid. They looked like liquid metal, swirling gently as if alive. She was shaking. Not just from fear, but from cold. Ethan felt his chest tighten. She looked young, maybe around 12 or 13 in human years. She didn't have any shoes. Her clothes were thin, more like ceremonial garments than anything meant for warmth. "Hey," Ethan spoke softly, trying not to startle her. "It's okay. I'm not gonna hurt you." The girl flinched and pressed herself more against the crate. She stared at him with wide eyes, breathing fast. She looked like she was trying to decide whether to run or stay. Ethan slowly took off his coat. He laid it on the ground in front of her and pushed it gently toward her. "You're freezing. Take it." She looked at the coat, then back at him. Her lips trembled. She didn't take it right away. Ethan waited. After a moment, with slow and shaky hands, she reached out and pulled the coat around her small body. When the warmth touched her, she let out a quiet sigh, like she had been holding her breath for hours. "There you go," Ethan said softly, offering a small, reassuring smile. "See? No danger." The girl stared at him for a while, still cautious but slightly calmer. She opened her mouth as if to speak, but only a soft sound came out. It wasn't human language. It was melodic, like a song. "I'm sorry," Ethan said gently. "I don't understand." The girl looked frustrated. She pressed one hand to her chest and said one word. It was quiet but clear. "Solara." Ethan blinked. "Solara? Is that your name?" She didn't answer with words but blinked slowly, which he guessed meant yes. "I'm Ethan," he said, pointing to himself. "Ethan." Solara watched him but didn't repeat it. Instead, she suddenly looked up at the sky. Her glowing lines on her cheeks flickered faster, as if reacting to something. She whispered another word, one Ethan could barely catch. "Preet mush," he repeated, trying to understand. Solara shook her head. She said it again, slower. "Mother," Ethan paused. He understood that one. She was looking for her mother. "Your mother? She's coming? Or you're trying to find her?" he asked gently. Solara hugged the coat tighter and lowered her head. For the first time, Ethan saw real sadness in her eyes. It was not the sadness of a child who lost a toy. It was deeper. He didn't know what she had been through, but he knew enough to understand she was alone and scared. He extended his hand toward her. "Come with me. It's not safe to stay here. You'll freeze." She stared at his hand. Her golden eyes flickered with hesitation. Then slowly, she reached out and placed her small hand in his. Her skin was cool to the touch, but she held on tightly. Ethan helped her stand. She was light, almost weightless, like her body was made for a planet with weaker gravity. She stood still for a moment, swaying slightly. Ethan carefully guided her toward his quarters. They walked slowly through the settlement. A few drones scanned them but didn't react. To the drones, she was probably just a visitor. Ethan kept an eye out for any guards or curious eyes, but no one was around. When they reached his small metal shelter, Ethan opened the door and motioned her inside. She stepped in cautiously, her bare feet making no sound on the metal floor. Ethan quickly turned on the heater and grabbed a blanket from the small bed. "Sit," he said gently, pointing to the bed. Solara sat, still wrapped in his coat. Ethan draped the blanket over her, too. She disappeared under the layers, only her glowing eyes visible. He moved to the small food storage unit and pulled out a packet of warm soup and a ration bar. He opened the soup and handed it to her. She sniffed it carefully. When she tasted it, her eyes widened. She drank it desperately, like she hadn't had a proper meal in days. Ethan watched quietly. He felt anger at whoever had left her alone. He felt protective of her, even though he had known her for only minutes. When she finished, she yawned softly. The glowing lines on her cheeks dimmed. Ethan realized she was exhausted. "You can sleep here," he said softly. "I'll sleep on the floor." She blinked slowly, watching him lay down a spare sheet on the ground. She tilted her head, confused. She pointed at the bed, then at him, as if asking why he wouldn't take it. "It's for you," Ethan said simply. "You need it more." Solara stared at him for a long time. Then, very quietly, she whispered something in her language. He didn't understand, but he could guess the meaning. "Thank you." The room fell silent. Ethan lay on the floor, staring at the ceiling. He could feel her eyes on him, but after a while her breathing slowed. She was asleep. Ethan closed his eyes. He wondered who she was, what planet she came from, what kind of mother she had. He wondered if she was in danger, or if danger was following her. He didn't know that high above the planet, far beyond human scanners, something massive was moving toward Halem 4. A ship unlike any human had ever seen. Silent, cloaked, watching. And it was coming for the girl sleeping in his bed.